Be seated, please. I've done a lot of MndyThurs services. And for almost all that time, my sermon was about mimicking Jesus, like he recommended we do. That we take on servant ministry, as he had both shown and asked us to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that being the sermon. I just have now come to believe it's rather trite. The fact is that essentially every sermon that we do is really for us. It's about us. It's about our needs. It's about who we are and what we are trying to do. And then we use either Jesus' life and witness, or the witness of the great saints, or the rules from the Old Testament, or whatever, to either convince us, or inspire us, or do something to cause us to do differently than what we, how would I say, am inclined to do. And the question becomes, I suppose, after 53 years of doing sermons like that, what good have I done? Who is listening? What changes have taken place? I'm reminded that God at one point got fed up, right? We know the story. He repented, to use the term from the Old Testament in Hebrew, of what he had done in creating us. And he did so because what was happening was that no one was paying attention. No one was listening, and no one seeing, except a very, well, in one case, one family. No. After he wiped out everybody, he said, I won't do that again. And I think he's regretted that ever since. Because did anything change? Did grace do anything? I sometimes come to church and I look at people who are really trying to do fewer and fewer, but who are trying. And sometimes I think it does work. I don't know how, but it does. But for increasing numbers of people, it's not. All you gotta do is look at who's here tonight. The true faithful one. And so as I was asked a month ago to do the sermon tonight, I said, what? I'm not going to do it the same as I've always done it. What is the message? Well, there should be at least 2 sermons a year. It's not about us. Shouldn't have anything to do with us. Jesus deserves 2 sermons for him. About him and for him alone. Because only he could do what he had to do. Because you see, after the flood and after a few times of dealing with another lap in the wilderness for the Israelites, and all the ways that they failed, and he would punish and then repent and all the stuff, ultimately, God came up with a plan. Here's the thing. You can't do it. You can't change. You're not going to be holy. You're not going to be righteous. You're not going to be perfect. So, I give up trying to expect you to do it. And I'll do it. I will do it. I will do it as a gift. And I don't expect very much. But I'll do it. Because what I'm going to do is send my son, the human incarnation of who I am, what I'm about, the love I have, the desire I have for relationship with you. He's going to come there. He's going to teach you. But then I want to ask him to do something really, really dramatic. And that is, he will have to die. He will have to suffer the consequences of the failed human race. Take it on himself. And not as a trick. Not as something that he sort of does. But I mean really does. Full bore. Complete. Total. And only him. Now that's a pretty big order, don't you think? For anyone, even God's Son. Because see, here's the catcher. He's got to agree to do it. God's got to offer it. Love requires free choice. Love requires free choice. You can't make someone love. You can't make someone sacrifice for your love. Not even God. So the plan required that Jesus do it. Freely, willingly, and all the way. All the way. And for someone who had never spent an instant of his life outside the full presence of God, I want you to consider what that means. Because what happens is the sin comes upon him, and in that instant, God isn't with him. He has to be separated, just like we would have been for our own sins. I honestly believe Jesus was unprepared for that. No matter how much he thought about it, wanted to do it, desired to do it, he was unprepared for it. So there's a big what if. And once I ask for what if, there's a whole bunch of what ifs. What if, I mean, here's the deal. All Jesus has to do is die. Right? Well, why not in sleep, nice and easy, quiet, no problem? Isn't that what we all hope to happen to us? It won't be tough, won't be hard, won't be something that we dread. It will happen, and it will be okay. Why couldn't Jesus do that? It would accomplish the same goal. But who would know? Who would know that he had done it? There wouldn't be stories about that. No, it had to be pretty dramatic. It had to reflect love at the deepest and most powerful and most sacrificial way that you could think of. And what if, despite what the scriptures say and what John said tonight and all this kind of stuff, it makes it look like, well, it's just another day in the life of the Savior to die. No. What if Jesus really thought that what he was doing was dying for all the rest of us in eternity, is the only one not at present. What if that is what he chose? What if he didn't know the full implications? What kind of sacrifice would that have been? What kind of love did that show? And how afraid would you have been to spend eternity away from God? When I look at the world, the vast majority really don't care about what Jesus did. They don't. And the ones that do don't always get it. It's more about us than him. But on 2 nights, or today and tomorrow, it ought to be all about him. All about him. What he did. And he alone. By himself. And in the face of really, really, really tough decisions. I don't think he went to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane because that's what you do. I think he really didn't want to do this. He didn't. He's going to be betrayed by one of his friends. The others are going to run away. They will not be there to comfort him. They will not support him. They will deny who he is. They will reject him. What would you do in the face of that? Would you go through with the deal? What if the very people who you came, who should have recognized you, should have known you, should have embraced you, are the ones killing you? And not just casually killing you, by the way. Laughing, mocking, treating you in the worst way. Imagine the pain and humiliation to hang naked in public in front of all these people as they mock you and laugh at you and say, hey, you who've come to save us, save yourself first, and guess what? We'll believe you. But if you do that, they die. If you succumb to that temptation, they all die. What if on the cross, Jesus said, I've had enough. I'm finished here. I'm gone. I'm out of here. Y'all take care of it. I'm going back to my Father. And y'all deal with it. What if there is no resurrection? What do you think life would be worth for you? What would it be like? As bad as it is in this world in so many ways, what do you think it'd be like without anything? Hope for, plan on, to get in the end. So I ask you, what do we owe him? What do we owe Jesus? And he didn't do that. He didn't take the what is. He saw it to the end. He deserves 2 days.